Much welcome to our webinar for today, the AARO webinar, Group Reporting Using AARO Software. It's a pleasure to talk about this software any day, anytime, because it creates so much value and we're excited to have it in the Nigerian market. So for us to start off, I'm going to share my screen, and then the webinar is going to be in two forms, in two modes. The first mode is I'm going to share some slides with you that will introduce the company, introduce the product and what it can do for you. And then the second stage is for me to open up the software so you can actually see it for yourself, how the software works and have a feel of it. But do note that this webinar is more like an introductory or general webinar. And that is why even after this webinar, we look forward to having sessions with you at your offices or even online still for us to target those areas of AARO that you would like to see more of. It's an interactive session, so feel free to drop your questions during the program on the chat box. And if you have any questions after the program, we'll definitely entertain a conversation. So let's start. I will switch off my video and I'm going to share my screen. Thank you. So I want to believe you can see my screen now. Okay, once again, you are welcome to this webinar. And we are going to talk about AARO, your partner in group reporting. Now, do note that AARO is one of the very few companies that is focused on group reporting. And when we talk about group reporting, we mean statutory and management reporting, group accounting, and compliance with different standards, such as your IFRS, your IPSAS, your local GAAPs. Please note that AARO software is not an ERP system. And that means this is not a software solution that is meant to replace your accounting applications and your ERPs. Because in our interactions with people, they sometimes think that when you are going to get AARO, then that means you have to remove the ERP implementations that have already been done. No. Actually, your AARO software starts providing you solution at the point where your ERP solutions stop giving you value. So you use your ERPs and other accounting softwares to do your day-to-day accounting processes and tracking your transactions. However, you use your AARO to carry out your reporting task and your consolidations and your group reporting and your compliance with standards. Yes, you meet those who will tell you that your ERP can provide some of this, but however, that is not what your ERPs and your accounting software is meant for. And that means whatever service it provides for you in the area of reporting, accounting, and compliance with standards is going to be at best very limited. So for the sake of emphasis, AARO software is not an ERP system. It doesn't do basic accounting. Rather, it takes the data from different ERP installations within the group. So for the agenda, I'm going to start with providing you some information about AARO, the company, and the customers. And then we're going to discuss about the current challenges that companies face when it comes to their reporting and the desired position they hope to attain. And then how AARO can meet it with the various services it has and the product's features. And then, of course, you are going to get to see the software itself through a demo. Okay, so let's start. You would notice here that you are seeing a part of the country. It's the northern Sweden, and it's a place that is very cold. You'd be surprised to know that this picture was taken in the summer period during the warmest time. And yet, if you see how it says, it looks very deserted and wilderness. However, that is a sharp contrast to Sweden when it comes to group accounting. Yes, when it comes to group accounting, Sweden is an extremely mature market. That is where you have softwares like Frango, that is the basis for the IBM Global Solution. And then the Microsoft Global Solution is also based on another Swedish software called Solver. And that is why Swedish software, when it comes to group accounting, has been successful, because the Swedish industry has large international groups that early on saw that there was a need for professional management and statutory reporting. So yes, AARO software started from Sweden, and the local competition in Sweden helped it to improve over the decades that it has been in the market. And now they can boast of closing more than 50% of the deals made in the home market, Sweden. And it supports every fourth company on the Stockholm Stock Exchange. So what's the point of this fact? Is that AARO software is a software, like, you know, the saying that goes that charity begins at home. So how well used is AARO in its home market, Sweden? Very well used. And over the years, it has made sure that its vision has been achieved for a lot of companies. As a matter of fact, as we progress, you'll see that it has not stayed in its home country. It has expanded beyond its borders, all over the world. What is its vision? What you see here, which is making group reporting easier, faster, and more transparent. Yes, as a matter of fact, their target is to make group reporting a non-event. So let's meet the company, AARO, a global company. First, AARO has under its belt over 30 years of experience doing what? Just reporting, group reporting and analysis. And what does that involve? That means that for the past 34 years, AARO has been working on providing services in the areas of group accounting, statutory reporting, management reporting, disclosure management, and compliance. And you would agree with me that the more you do something, the better you get at it. So yes, the company can boast of being very good in what it does. How widespread is the software? AARO, the company supports groups all over the world. And you can see here, it has 15,000 users spread over 140 countries. And the software is very scalable. AARO has customers that have 0 subsidiaries, and they have customers that have over 500 subsidiaries. That tells you something. What is it? That AARO is flexible and fully functional, and that as you grow, you don't need to look for another software. Once you have AARO, AARO grows with you. So for those we have also interacted with who feel that AARO is not useful for them because they are not operating in a group, they are not operating in a group setting, they don't do consolidations. No. Even when you do not do group consolidations, as long as you do statutory reporting, you do management reporting, you do compliance with standards, then you need AARO. And as you grow and expand and you merge with other companies, you acquire companies, you continue using AARO. These are some of the standards that you can comply with, but this is not exhaustive. So AARO allows you to comply with various standards, industry-specific standards, general standards, your IFRS standard, even your IFSAs. Yes, the public sector organizations can and should use AARO for their reporting needs. And the beauty is that AARO offers a fast delivery and implementation because they have been at the business for decades, so they have experience with it. And when it comes to using AARO, you have 2 choices. You can either run it in the cloud, or you can install it on your local server. It is very adaptable, it's user-friendly, and it's easy to maintain. As a matter of fact, once you conclude implementation, you do not need to depend on the consultants. And this is very different from the reality when it comes to ERPs. ERPs today, once you contract a person to implement it, you have to keep relying and depending on those consultants. There's never somebody in-house that can be confident and skilled enough to take over as a first level support. But the difference is that it's AARO, it's not that way. You become the expert, and you can use AARO independent of the consultants who implemented it. And between you and your colleagues, you can create your own reports, create your own dashboards, and easily share them with each other. Now, let's talk about AARO, the software. When you get AARO, what does it come with? Well, the unique strength of AARO is that it provides not just the software, it provides you software, service, and academy. Let's talk about it some more. First, you have the academy. Yes. When you get AARO, you become part of a global family a global family that provides you competence in various areas of your accounting needs and knowledge, because you have your AARO Academy. Your AARO Academy is a global school, and it provides training and classes for everything related to reporting, group reporting. Whether the different IFRS standards, the latest standards, how to comply with it, general group accounting, setting up a group reporting routine, or how to use the software itself. Now, the beauty of this is, as the manager in your organization, you definitely know that your staff needs to be technologically competent and up to date with the reporting responsibilities and the industry standards as they progress and they evolve. You have to arrange for training programs for them on a regular basis. Now, if you get AARO, you can also register with the AARO Academy and keep your team up to date with everything in terms of both the theory and the software side of accounting. So you don't even need to look beyond AARO Academy for all the training needs you would have. And the beauty is, because it is online, it's flexible, meaning you can arrange this to suit the schedule of your team. You don't have to do any physical traveling, or if they choose to have physical traveling, the option is also available. And then, of course, if you rather have a classroom training, we in peer consulting are paid to provide you with on-site training, one-on-one, and then you can get to interact with the consultants. Now, when it comes to the software itself, the software helps you in your closing process. The closing process can be very hectic, but with AARO software, which has been refined for over 30 years, it takes the closing process and makes it a smooth experience. And the nice thing about this software is that, unlike your ERPs and other such applications that takes months, and I dare say years sometimes, to complete implementation, with AARO, it takes you just 2 to 3 months. Yes, just the first quarter within a year, 3 months max, and you are ready to go into production. Implementing AARO is not time consuming, it's not complicated. And this is because AARO has been configured to be a plug and play solution. It's not a toolbox where you have to think of what to bring together to get your results, and because of it, you need to call the consultants to guide you. No, in this one, everything is prepackaged. And as you use it, you build your skill to be able to provide what extra things you need. So you are not limited to what you get at the point of implementation. You yourself can expand the report. And then, yes, you will notice I've been saying you can take it off from the point of implementation, but that doesn't mean that AARO consultants will leave your side. No. When it comes to closing, period closing services are something that definitely have to happen. However, they can be overwhelming. Sometimes it has to do with the fact that we don't have the skill, the staff do not have the skill needed to carry out the closing activities. It could be that the staff you are depending on is absent for that part period when you need him the most. It could be that the workload has increased because there have been new standards that have been adopted or the group structure has been changed, and these things can create panic. And that is why we're here. With AARO, the practicalities involved when it comes to the closing process and the expertise needed are provided for you using our professionals who are very happy to work with you during that period. And then, of course, we have our support system that is always available. Yes, 24/7. This is possible because we operate a case management system that it's a support portal that is available online for you to log in your issues. And then the technicians, the accountants, and experts are always there working on that issue until it's resolved. And remember, since AARO Software and the company has branches all over, they are not bound by any time zone. So when a part of the world is sleeping, there's another part of the world that is awake. So definitely you will have an AARO consultant that is awake and ready to work with you. So yes, we can proudly tell you that it's 24 hours, 7 days a week. So this tells you something that AARO Software and AARO the company wants to be your partner in all aspects of group reporting, consolidation, and even your general reporting, which means your statutory reporting and your management reporting, your compliance standards. And we are happy to have you. And that is why we in Peer Consulting are eager to have you put AARO into your system and see, just test them out and see how well you would enjoy the experience. And that is why we are happy to be in this partnership with you. But then, are there others using the software? Yes, there are. There are a lot of multinationals and large organizations. Remember, earlier in our discussion, we talked about the fact that 50% of the market in Sweden is using AARO, and that 25% of companies in the Stockholm Stock Exchange are using AARO. Now, outside AARO, there are still others. Now, this is just a selection of different companies of different sizes that are spread across the globe. You have customers in Europe, we have customers in Africa, we have customers in the Middle East. So the Nigerian market is not a guinea pig. You are dealing with a company and a software that has a lot of users, successful users that are happy to give you the reference to assure you that yes, you can go ahead and acquire this software. So these users here, what challenge were they having before they got AARO? And how was AARO able to meet the challenge? Let's talk about this a little. Sorry. So let's talk about this a little. Yeah. First, we have subgroups. So a group, when it's consolidated into another group, it introduces complexities. It introduces complexities, and this is usually something that most applications find it difficult to deal with. But when you implement AARO in your organization, no matter what complexity is involved in terms of the group structure, AARO takes the heat off you. And once it's set up at the initial stage, you can keep working with it. AARO shields you from the complexities of having subgroups. Then, ideally, when it comes to ERP systems, the right thing is for you to have one ERP system where all the modules that are going to be needed for the different departments are activated and in active use. But the reality is that you find out that in an organization, you have multiple ERP systems. And these multiple ERP systems it becomes challenging and difficult to get data from all of them for you to do a comprehensive report. But with AARO, that's not an issue because AARO has the capability to pull data from any source and bring it into AARO as a central database for your reporting needs. Excel is a tool we all love. I personally use Excel and I enjoy it. And Excel, as powerful as it is, most times what you find is that you have experts who use it. And those experts are the ones the company relies on to provide the reporting information at the period for closing activities. Now, the challenge with it is this. If the user leaves the organization or is not available, it becomes a problem. How does AARO address it? Not by removing Excel from the equation. No, AARO still uses Excel, but AARO makes everybody in your team an expert. Yes, because with AARO, you can link to your Excel, prepare your reports, whether you want to stay in AARO or Excel, and have it automated and work such that no single individual is needed for you to have certain reports produced in Excel. And at the end of the day, those same reports that are produced in Excel can be constantly updated using the central database in AARO. All this sounds theoretical and abstract, but I'll be happy to show you when we get to the software side. Now, when it comes to multiple currencies, when you are in a number of jurisdictions having different currencies, you need to ensure that the reporting currency uses the right conversion rate. Now, when you use AARO, it doesn't matter how many currencies there are. You can have your long list. Once they are configured at the point of implementation with the right rate, the reports and the figures will be presented accurately. Auditors are very crucial in organizations, and I'm happy to see that some audit firms are part of this webinar. Of what use is AARO to you, our auditors? Well, you know very well that when you go into these companies to carry out your audit, you request explanations and reports on how certain transactions and consolidations were done and what eliminations they did and why they did it and the rest of it. And you find that usually for these clients to provide you the necessary data to back up what they have done is usually tedious and it takes so much time. But did you know that if the companies you are auditing get the AARO software, getting you all those facts and figures you need during your audit process becomes a very simple thing. I'm going to show you in the software how you can trace all the numbers that are generated inside AARO and how you can prepare a lot of reports, flexible. So you are on one report and the auditor says, I want to see how this figure was generated. Immediately, you do your drill down and then you get a new report. And the auditor tells you, I need that report. And going forward, I'll always need that report. You just save your report and that's it. I will be happy to show you how this works. Now, when it comes to statutory and management reports, the ideal thing really should be that both reports should be able to be converted from one to the other, correct? But you find that it doesn't work that way. You will have a statutory report. Now you want to represent the figures in the management reports format. The figures do not agree. But with AARO provides a single point of truth for your statutory and management reports. And the numbers, they would not change from one to the other because it is still from the same database that you're making those reports. Now, when it comes to your disclosure management, yes, in your efforts to want to be compliant, for those who say their ERPs can do their reporting, this is one other crucial area that the ERPs fail because they are not made to do that for you. You see, when you use your ERPs, you have no choice but to go out of the ERP to be aware, to get all those standards you have to comply with so that you can be sure you are not breaking the law in any way. And at the end of the day, it takes you so much time to edit it and to add the necessary standards and to make sure you are complying with it. But with AARO, you spend less time on repetitive tasks and more time in analyzing your data because the compliance side of your reporting needs has been taken care of by the software. Now, if you have a board presentation, did you know that you can link your PowerPoint to your AARO and your numbers will be automatically plugged in? So at the end of the day, you're making presentation to the board and the figures we have there are live figures based on what has been fed into AARO. And remember, AARO is linking with your ERPs. So as the transactions are processing and they are being pulled into AARO, AARO is generating your analytics and then you are presenting it in your PowerPoint. How cool is that? Now, when it comes to the non-controlling interests, that's the minorities, you can have direct and indirect, and AARO helps you to manage this so that you can be compliant. So these are examples of things that AARO users presented as their challenges, and AARO was able to resolve it for them. But this is just few. There are others that were not addressed, that were not discussed, that are not discussed here, but they were addressed by AARO. And for instance, when you have lease contracts, IFRS system, how do you handle it? How do you comply? If you have insurance contracts, IFRS 17, how do you resolve that? If you have expected credit losses, IFRS 9, these are all compliance issues that are automated in AARO. So what I'm saying in essence is this: AARO addresses all your compliance and reporting needs. And guess what? If you don't want to buy the full AARO that provides you with, compliance with all the standards, you can start with a small one and use it to test run AARO. For instance, did you know we have AARO for IFRS 16? Yes. So if you have a lot of contracts in your organization and you want to test run AARO and see how they help you to comply with the IFRS 16 standard, just go ahead and buy just that one and see the value of it, and then you'll be encouraged to go beyond it. So at the end of the day, what AARO does for you is it helps your closing activities to be automated, and it helps you focus more on providing analysis so that you can take better decisions because your reports are timely. How does it do this? It's just 3 steps. Collect the data, consolidate the data, and analyze the data. Present it and analyze it. Now, let's talk briefly about the collection side. Now, what methods does AARO use to collect data? It's 2 ways. It's either you do the automatic one where you can do a connection, a linking with your ERPs, and it pulls the data and loads it into your AARO. Or you can do the manual one where you enter the data directly, especially for data that is not so large. Like you can have number of employees, average age, data like that. And then if there's any reason for adjustment, you can adjust the data with journals that you post. Now, does it work with data, text files, and Excel, or is it just ERPs? Oh, please, it works with text files and Excel as well. And the beauty of it is that the data is validated as it's pulled in. So you can immediately confirm that the data is valid and that it agrees with what it ought to be. So there's nothing like garbage in, garbage out. What kind of data can you collect into AARO? All kinds of data, yes. What I mean by that is it can be of any period. It can be yearly, it can be quarterly, it can be monthly, it can be weekly. And like you see here, it can be your actual data, your budgets, your forecasts. As many as you need. We are not limited by the number of years. So if you have been operating for like 20 years and you want everything to enter into AARO, AARO has capacity to absorb all. And guess what? AARO customers use the software for more than just financial figures. They use it for statistics, they use it for comments, they use it to store even complete documents in AARO. So AARO now becomes like your one-stop solution, or one-stop solution, meaning everything you need, all the information you need to present facts and take decisions when it comes to the reports in your organization, you have it in AARO. Now, after you collect the data, you need to consolidate. Notice here that the consolidation is real time. Now, the first thing is this: AARO will take the acquisition register into account. So the acquisition register and the excess value register would be in place from day one. And this will take care of all the logic. So that basic information that is found in the acquisition register and excess value register is usually constant over the years. So you don't have to always do this every year. It's just at the point of implementation. And the beauty of it is that for those customers of AARO who have been using AARO for decades, you know, they have been enjoying the value of this logic that has been put inside the acquisition register. They've not had any cause to make any much edits, except when the group structure has changed, then they have to just go there and do the little update needed. But once the work is done within the implementation period, it's done, and you keep reaping value from it as the years progress. Now, so when you report your intercompany transaction, our AARO does matches and eliminations. So at the end of the day, you do not experience differences between what is matched and what is eliminated. And the intercompany feeds the P&L and balance sheet. So we separate unmatched differences depending on different exchange rates used and real differences. And then the consolidation process is immediately you put the numbers in, the consolidation process kicks in. And at the end of the day, whether you want to see your statutory reports or your operational report, that's the management side, the statutory and operational data will be consolidated in one solution. And this leads to high quality. So it doesn't matter if you split the group reports into markets, products, or legal entity, you get the same total. So you save a lot of time, and your business controllers can be confident in their figures because it's possible to see the link to group accounting. And that's a very crucial point because at the end of the day, your statutory report and your management report should tally. With AARO, it will tally. Now, after you have consolidated, then you do the analysis. Now, that is the beauty of the AARO reports. AARO reports help you to carry out proper and sharper analysis of your data after consolidation. And it's very user-friendly. It's powerful, it's very user-friendly, and it's flexible. You can analyze your numbers going from the very top and you drill down to the deepest level of detail. And the beauty of it is that you do not need an AARO expert to help you define where to drill. So you don't need predefined path where you need to follow. No, you could just be analyzing one aspect of your financial statement and start asking questions. And your questions will take you to the levels you want. And you will agree with me that no two consultants, no two auditors, no two team members will ask the same set of questions because you think in different ways. But whatever your thoughts, wherever your thoughts take you, you can, with AARO, create the reports that answer your questions and present it. Now, you should have the definition and calculation of all KPIs in AARO. And the best way to make sure all are calculated the same way and based on the same data. For example, your return on average capital, they all use the same amount of periods when you calculate the average. So customers have been able to use their KPIs with AARO. And the interesting thing is that AARO has a strong integration with Microsoft Office for disclosure management and other internal or external report packages. So at the end of the day, if you choose to do your final presentation of data, including your annual report, using Office products, AARO allows you to do that. You can use your Excel, your Word, or PowerPoint, and I'll show you how this works in AARO. So with AARO, you can get the ability to add value to your organization. As a matter of fact, AARO allows you to build your reports yourself using drag and drop features. And you do not need specialists. It's really, truly self-service. So at the end of the day, AARO has allowed the finance department to have a tool that bridges the usual gap that exists between finance and other functions. Before AARO, finance departments are seen like individuals from another planet. But with AARO, AARO has become the translator and a tool that is finance for non-finance people. So whoever comes to the finance to request whatever information, the finance department with AARO are equipped to provide all the necessary responses in a way that will satisfy the users. So AARO makes finance department a more effective and accurate support function. So please, my professional colleagues, having AARO is something crucial for the finance department. Now, what kind of reports are produced when you come to AARO? Oh, you can see here, it's a variety. If you want it in figures, you want it in dashboards, if you want it in charts, if you want it in gauges, you can have it. You can create workflows. What you are seeing here is what we are going to look at on the software side. So let's move on to the software side now. So the background, this is the background of the file we are working with. Please note that this group is having 20 legal entities, and their business is they run online stores, and they operate in 5 different local currencies, and the group currency is the Swedish krona, SEK. It has 3 business areas. It operates 3 to 4 products each in the 6 business units, and the chart of accounts is the standard chart of accounts. The period under analysis is the 2018-2019 actual data and the budget data for 2020. So I'll take a pause here and stop sharing this so I can take you to the live demo. So you can see here that I'm logging into the web part of AARO. And notice here that AARO allows you to log in different languages depending on what has been configured. Now, if you do not want to always log in anytime you want to use AARO, you can tie it to your Active Directory. So with your Active Directory, once you log into your machine, you have access to your AARO software. You don't have to log in separately for that. Okay, now when we log in, the first we see is the dashboard window. And the dashboard window presents different sections. You have the calendar sections that give you a list of activities that you are meant to perform within a specified time in the month. This is your workflow. Now, the workflow, when you click on it, it presents to you the different steps you are supposed to take with regards to your work for that period, and it gives you the percentage that you have, progress you have made. And then if you have reports that you regularly use, this is where you tie it in your favorite report section. And then the new section is a central information sharing point where the team manager shares the necessary information to keep his team abreast. So what you are seeing here is a dashboard that has been created not just for you, but for those within your team. So if you have you have your team, and the manager is in charge of creating a dashboard where he adds those users that should be able to view the dashboard. And then he, on his own side, will track what each person is doing and what progress has been made. So this is a very good way of managing the team and ensuring that we meet our deadlines. The dashboards that you see here are configured to be available for different categories of users. And you are allowed or able to tweak this dashboard in various ways. So I'm going to start with analyzing this. But first, though, I want to bring to your attention this. Remember, we said that with AARO, for you to have your automatic closing activities and you're able to do a sharp analysis, you have to carry out 3 steps, correct? You collect data, you consolidate the data, and then you analyze data. I am going to take you on the analysis part. So, like we said earlier, the presentation is the general one. So I'm showing you what happens after AARO has collected the data and has consolidated it. the kinds of reports it produces, and how you can analyze the reports and create value out of the information. Okay, so first let's start with the balance sheet. Now, when you click on any of the reports, it takes you to the report side and it presents you with a report that you can review and analyze. So what you see here is the aggregated balance sheet for our group. Now, the layout of this balance sheet can be adapted to your desired layout. So you can see here the companies with their contribution to the group and two columns at the far end here that shows the eliminations that have been carried out when the consolidation was done. So the EL here is where we eliminate things like minorities and past equity. When you say past equity in AARO, we mean pre-acquisition costs. Then the ELIC here is where we eliminate the internal transactions between the different groups of companies. So you see, these two columns are automatically generated by AARO, and all the numbers here in this report and other reports are traceable. You can analyze the contributions from an operational perspective or from a consolidation perspective. Now, let's do some analysis. Since AARO does these eliminations automatically, it's only natural that you would want to trace the numbers for full understanding on where they come from. Every drill down, whenever you carry out a drill down, it gets created on a separate time tab and you can save it as a report for future use. So let's see how it works. So I'm going to click on the eliminations. I have two options here, my drill down and my expand. Both give more information about the section I have clicked, but they do it in different ways. The drill down creates a new tab with the information I want presented there, while the expand stays on the same report and increases the number of information on that same report. So I'm going to pick the drill down option, and I want to see more on the eliminations that were done by the legal type. So I'll go to legal and I'll pick legal type. So like I said earlier, once I drill down, a new report is created based on the time when it was generated. And then I have to save it if I want to see this report going forward. So these are the eliminations that have been done based on the legal type. And we can see here that it comes from different areas and different legal types. Now, we want to see a report specifying the elimination. No, we see the report that is specifying the eliminations into untaxed reserves, direct minority, indirect minority, goodwill, and past equity elimination. And these are the different values we see there. Can we drill down further to get more information? Yes, we can. We can choose to analyze the goodwill excess value by the contributing companies. So to do this, I'll click on the column header again. I still choose the drill down. So I'll pick the drill down and still on legal, but this time it will be from companies to see the contributing companies for the goodwill excess value. So here we have it, and we can see here that these are the different companies that are contributing to the goodwill excess value eliminations. Now, let us analyze the income statement. So I'm going back to the dashboard and then income statement. Just like you have with the group balance sheet, the income statement for the group, after presenting to you the companies and the different figures, it has the two columns, the eliminations and the eliminations for intercompany transactions. In our earlier exercise, we drill down and trace the numbers from the eliminations, the column section. In this one, we want to drill down based on the row section using the gross profit. In this case, we are looking at the operational side of analysis. We want to see where the numbers come from and want to choose to specify gross profit by business area. So I'm still going to use the drill down, operational and business area. So you can see here that we have 3 contributing business areas. And they are entertainment, home, and Vogue. Now, since we started from a report with companies as columns, the companies are kept as columns, and we got a group total here at the totals column. Can we analyze this further? Yes, we can. You can analyze it further. But why don't we instead do the analysis outside AARO so you can see how AARO works with Excel? So to do this, we click on the export. Notice here that Excel has 2 options, Excel and Excel Live. The difference between the two is that Excel Live allows you to still maintain a connection with AARO so that the figures can be live and dynamic. So once you link to AARO, because AARO has an excellent integration to Microsoft Office, using Excel Live, you can continue to analyze your numbers further. So how does this work? You can see here, that same report you saw in AARO is now in Excel. And because the link is still there, I can choose to see more information from here. For instance, my currency is presented in the Swedish krona. I would like to see it presented in the United States, the US dollars. So you can see the figures have been converted to reflect it based on the rates that was entered. And that is because we have an active connection with AARO database. We can also change other parameters, but it does not end here. We can also do drill down and we can do expand. Yes, even in Excel. So for instance, if I want to see a further breakdown of the business units for a specific one, which is the entertainment. I want to see the business unit. I will click on entertainment. I will drill down, operational and business unit. Now, the difference between AARO and Excel is that AARO creates a new tab for you, but Excel stays on the current sheet, on the active sheet, and creates the additional information you need. So you can see, for instance, the figure 6452 for entertainment for Athens is further broken down into 2 different units, leisure and media. And because we drill down, we can see that some companies have business units that are not contributing anything, and some are even providing a negative balance. And yes, you can drill down further into the lowest level of details. Like I said earlier, it all depends on the questions you ask. The more questions you ask, the more reports you create, and the more AARO provides value for you. Now, if we go back to AARO side, let's take a look at the equity dashboard. We go to the equity. So on the dashboard, in a similar way, we can produce a statement of equity for the group like you see here. And it has the same traceability as the income statement and balance sheet. You can see here, those 2 automatic consolidation, the eliminations and the internal ones are already created, even in the equity. Let's also take a look at the cash flow. We also produce cash flow of the group, And of course, it has the same traceability as the other statements. And you can choose to produce your cash flow using either the direct method or the indirect method. And then, of course, this is complemented with the other disclosure requirements. So AARO provides you a template where all the logic needed for group consolidation is there from day one. Then the layout of the different reports can be adapted to your needs by adding your specific accounts, your organizations, and the rest. So I have only showed you a small subset of the abilities of our report engine. You, on your own, can produce a multitude of reports, mixing budgets, actuals, and forecasts. And the beauty of it is that AARO is an easy to use tool where you do not need consultants to build the reports or dashboards that you need. You can do it yourself. Now, how does AARO integrate with Word? You would agree with me that when it comes to financial statement, for you to have a publishable one, you would want to take it out of AARO and put it in Word and do all the publishing requirements you need and the rest of it. So let me show you how this works with AARO. I'm going to download the AARO group report file, and then we'll take a look at it and see how it works. So here is our report. And we can see here that it provides a full set of financial statements that are fully auditable and linked to the AARO database. So this information here is linked to the database such that you can update it automatically. So for instance, if I want to jump to a specific page without scrolling, yes, I can do it because of the hyperlinks available. So this takes me, for instance, to the notes number 1. Now, because of the link, you can actually choose to make changes while still on this page on Microsoft Word instead of going back to AARO. So for instance, if I want to make changes to this to represent certain things different from what I have here, yes, I can do that. So I'll click on Run All. So it's meant to pull up the dialog box. So now this dialog box gives me opportunity to change my currency. Like I have my Nigerian Naira here. I have it presented in millions. I have it presented in thousands, and I have it presented in just the actual figures. So I'm going to pick thousands and change it to thousands. And then the year, I'm going to also change it to 2018, 2019. Click OK. So usually when you click it, what happens is it runs through all the pages of the financials and then updates it with new figures based on the settings you have provided. Now, ideally, when you run this, it depends on your network. It's something that if you have if the network is good and it's fast and the document is not so large, the figures get updated quickly. However, whether in a long time, which is just, let me say 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or in a short time, at the end of the day, you will still get the figures updated. But aside from getting your figures updated, one other thing you can do is write on your Microsoft Word. You can type the changes you want. You can make your editings. You do not have to be on the side of AARO before edits can be made. Aside from pulling in figures, you can actually make direct edits on your Microsoft Word. So at the end of the day, the combined functionality of AARO and Word gives you endless possibilities to produce any kind of reports. And really, it is only your fantasy that limits you. And thanks to AARO's report engine, all your numbers are always updated and reconciled. So we see here that the figures have changed to be 2018, 2019, and they are now represented in the Nigerian Naira, which is our local currency, and that is why this one is updated. Okay, now back to AARO. All this while, we have been working on one specific dashboard. But did you know that AARO allows you to create multiple dashboards? Yeah, let me show you some that we have created and how it works. For instance, you have your management dashboard. Yes, you can produce dashboards that are meant to attend to the needs of specific members of the organization that have specific questions they have to ask. What does this management dashboard have? It is used by a senior management person within finance to follow up on actual performance of the group. So you can see for illustration purposes, we have 2 reports and 1 chart comparing actual and budget numbers for operating income, salary specification, and revenue by customer. Then 1 report is showing the top 10 customers based on net sales, and 1 chart is showing business unit performance in terms of total income and EBITDA. And this information you have here is totally editable. You can make changes in terms of the business area, in terms of the currency, in terms of the period and month. Another dashboard is the management trends. The management trends is used by a person in a senior management position to analyze some trends within the year. So you can see here, the first report shows the trend of the top 10 products month on month across the year. And the second report is a summarized income statement. Then the third report is a visual representation of sales across the year, while this one, the final one here, shows your EBITDA and your net sales for actual and budget. So here, you can actually choose to either represent your data in all periods or to limit it to actual figures and the rest of it. And even the time type, you can choose to make it either month to date, quarter to date, and the rest. Then the final dashboard I'm going to show you is the gauges dashboard. So in the gauges dashboard, it helps you to see how far you are going based on your customer satisfaction level. It could be for other data like environmental data and the rest of it. So this is just a small subset of how AARO works. And in conclusion, I would like to briefly summarize what we have discussed, which is when it comes to taking a decision on whether you want to acquire AARO, it involves deciding on whether the software has the desired functionality. Does the company have the experience? Do your investment gives you high returns? And are they there for you into the future? We can proudly tell you that yes, because when it comes to functionality, AARO gives you flexible reporting and automatic consolidation, and you can do drill down. And then when it comes to experience, they have staff in the organization that have been there since inception, and customers across the globe can testify that AARO has been of great value to them. And because implementation, the process is just 2 to 3 months, you can start using your software almost immediately, in fact, immediately, and manage it yourself. And into the future, AARO is here to stay, and they are there to help you comply with new standards as they come. So in summary, remember, this is what you get when you get AARO. You get the academy, you get the software, you get the professionals, and you get support. And whatever challenges you're facing, you can be assured that yes, AARO can address those challenges. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure that not just group reporting, but everything when it comes to reporting, whether or not you have consolidation in the system or you're part of the group, whether or not you're part of the group, we want to make sure that your statutory reporting, your management reporting, your compliance is a non-event. It doesn't take you stress, it doesn't take you effort. So thank you very much for your time. And I would love to stop sharing my screen now and hand over to one of my panelists who is going to address any questions you have. Once more, I want to say thank you. So I would like to hand over to Brian, and I would like to have any questions you might have so that we can address it. So do you have any questions? You can feel free to drop your questions on the chat box. You can see question and answer below. Oh, thank you very much for your feedback. Now, if there are no questions, I would like you to note that we want to have a session with you in your organization so that we can address your specific questions, your own needs, and show you which area in AARO can meet those needs. And if you want to see a recording, we'll be happy to share it with you based on the email you registered for this webinar. So, okay, I think there's a question. Yes. Yes, Miss. Yes, sir. You are going to receive the recording. We'll share it on our website and social media handles, and please feel free. Okay, AARO will also like to answer this question. Thank you. Is there any other question? For the audit firms, please be assured that this software is a software that can be used both for your clients and for you in your organizations. If you want to know how relevant it is for you as an audit firm, please feel free to chat with us and to email us. We'll be happy to answer all your questions. Okay, so if there are no other questions, I would like to thank you very much for the time you took out. This 1 hour is a 1 hour of value because I know how busy you are in your different organizations. So I want to say thank you very much for taking our time to be with us. We really appreciate your time. And we want to take this discussion further. We are happy with the feedback we've been getting in the Nigerian market over time, and we are looking forward to even having more interactions with you. So thank you very much for your time, and we are going to have other webinars, and we are going to send you the invite. So please take notes. Exactly a week from now, next week Wednesday, there is going to be another webinar on another subject area and another software technology. Please stay posted. Thank you very much. Bye.